Indiana basketball is set to face Northwestern in their first game of the Big Ten tournament, and it's as straightforward as it gets. You win or you go home.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Thank you so much for making that so. Thank you for being here. And however you choose to support the show, thank you for that as well. We are growing like crazy. You can be a part of that, liking the video, commenting down below, sharing it with your family and friends, and following us on your audio podcasting platforms as well. So thank you for doing all of that. And we want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Well, full on basketball today, as Scott Dolson had some fiery comments about Darian DeVries and Indiana basketball, kind of telling Indiana fans to pipe down just a little bit before the Big Ten tournament even gets started. Plus, we now know that Indiana will face off against Northwestern in the Big Ten tournament. We'll talk about the matchup and how Indiana can hopefully learn from the first time you played these jokers, because it did not go your way. But today is straightforward. It's as simple as it gets, man. You either win or you go home. And I'm sure a lot of you hear that and you say, well, yeah, isn't that how most tournaments work? Yes, most of them are, right? You know, you've got double elimination and all that mess, but we don't do that in conference basketball tournaments and college basketball. You either win your game or you go home. But I'm not talking about just the Big Ten tournament. Indiana's season, the 25-26 season, year one under Darian DeVries, everything is on the line today when you take on Northwestern in the Big Ten tournament. You either win and you survive, or you lose and your season comes to a crashing halt. And we can be mad about that. We can be upset about that. That can frustrate us as Indiana people. And to be honest, I am mad and sad and frustrated with that idea, right? It sucks that our season basically comes down to a game against Northwestern tonight that most people won't even watch. Big Ten fans will, Purdue fans will, because they get the winner of this game. But most people in college basketball, they're not even going to turn this game on because they don't care, because it's a team in Northwestern that has nothing to play for, and a team in Indiana whose season is up for grabs, but most people don't know that, because when you look across all the different bracketologies, Indiana is towing the line within or out of the Big Ten tournament, or out of the NCAA tournament, sorry. But here's the problem, and it's something I talked about yesterday, and I'm going to talk about it again today. We don't know what Indiana has to do to make the big tournament, right? To make the NCAA tournament the big dance. We don't know what Indiana has to do, because the tournament committee decides that they aren't going to say a word. They're not going to say a peep about what you should do or what we are wanting from you or what we're looking for, because we've been told that they don't watch conference tournaments. So Indiana might just be out of the tournament regardless, unless they go and win the whole tournament in Chicago, right? But I can tell you one thing guaranteed 100%, there's no doubt about it. You lose this game tonight against Northwestern, you're done. You're out. You will not make the NCAA tournament. You will be laughed off the floor in Chicago. It will be a long, short flight home to Bloomington, and year one under Darian DeVries will go down as a failure. It will. I said that on a previous episode, and I'm going to double down on it here, because missing the NCAA tournament for Indiana basketball is a failure. That our standard is higher than that historically, but over the last 25 years, man, making the tournament is something you got to do. Missing the tournament is something you lose your job for. Just ask the previous 4 or 5 head coaches here. Missing the tournament is not acceptable. And again, we're going to go into some of those comments that Scott Dolson made about Darian DeVries, in pretty hard defense for him as well. but your season comes down to this game tonight. And here's what sucks even more, right? You win this game tonight. Let's say Indiana wins against Northwestern. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you win by 30, if you win by 1. I don't care. I literally don't. I don't care if you put up 115 or you win 55-54. I don't care how you do it. You win this game tonight, you get nothing for it. You get no credit. You get no love. You get no respect for winning this game. Why? Because Northwestern's a terrible basketball team. They have a great player, one of the best players in the Big Ten, the conference's leading scorer in Nick Martinelli, who had a field day the last time he played you. But nobody respects Northwestern. Their ranking is terrible. Their numbers are even worse. You get zero credit for winning this game tonight. But your season comes to an end if you lose. That's a tough spot to be, man. That's a really, really weird mindset to have and mentality and mental space to be in, which is why the team can't think that way. You do need to know that your season could end tonight if you lose. But you can't go into this saying, well, we got to win, but man, if we do, nobody's going to like us for it. Nobody's going to celebrate with us. Nobody's going to give us props for it. And guess what? That is true, but they can't think that way. But the games that you could be playing in the future, as in tomorrow and Friday and Saturday, those are the games that matter. Those are the games that Indiana could start to move the needle a little bit, especially with some of the teams around you who have already lost in the first couple of days of this week and some other teams in action today, one of them being Auburn in the SEC tournament, so keep an eye on them. You've got Cincinnati's hanging around there. SMU was in action. Stanford lost, right? All those teams are important to keep track of, but Indiana's got to get to a game against Purdue, a game against these other top teams in the Big Ten, because those are your quad one opportunities. Those are tournament teams that Indiana needs another chance to get after and a chance to beat and upset and prove to the committee that we belong in the tournament. But you've got to win the game tonight against Northwestern to give yourself a chance. And if you don't win this one, your season is done. And look, I'm not saying we're going to beat Purdue or we're going to beat whoever, because we don't know. And you'll be an underdog in those games. But those games are your only chance of getting into the tournament, and you can't get those without winning this one tonight. But it's no gimme. It's no freebie. It's no Sharpied in win for Indiana tonight against Northwestern, because the one other time you played them this year, you lost in Bloomington inside of Assembly Hall. This one is not there. It is on a neutral site. It's in Chicago, and Nick Martinelli is still a Northwestern Wildcat. We'll talk about this game and how Indiana can try to keep its season alive right after this on Locked On Hoosiers. Stick around.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated St. John's 85-49 on Sunday at Madison Square Garden, extending its winning streak to 47 games. The Huskies capped a perfect 31-0 regular season, including 20-0 in the Big East. UConn is winning by nearly 38 points per game, the third largest average margin in Division I history. Since 1999 to 2000, UConn has 9 undefeated regular seasons, as many as all other programs combined, and has turned 6 of those into national championships. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. The biggest stretch of the college basketball season is literally here. Buzzer beaters, bracket busters, and those unforgettable moments that everyone's talking about the next day. Being there live for something like that, that's bucket list stuff right there, man. The hard part, though, is actually getting tickets to these types of events because of the long queues, the prices are jumping all around, and surprise fees at checkout. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly simple to use, okay? The game time guarantee means that 100% legitimate tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price that you see. So what you see is what you pay, period. Take the guesswork out of buying college basketball tickets with Game Time. So if you're in Chicago, we're going to Chicago. Use Game Time. You can get in the door to all the biggest games. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. All right, welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. And if this truly is your everyday spot and you go here every single day of your life, Monday through Friday, on the weekends as well, when we go live, like we will tonight, after Indiana and Northwestern, then you need to be a part of our Everydayer Club, okay? Because this is a unique opportunity that we've started here at the network, and we're very, very excited about it, okay? For $5 a month, you can be a part of our Everydayer Club, okay? You're going to get access to our Discord server, which is a big group chat. We're sparking up conversations, talking during games, talking recruiting, show ideas, questionnaires, things like that, okay? So you're going to get access to that. You're also going to have access to some cool Locked On merch opportunities and things like that. And did I mention you're going to get the show ad-free every day? You're going to get the audio version of Locked On Hoosiers delivered to you ad-free Monday through Friday. So if you've been thinking about joining and signing up with the Everydayer Club, you may as well go ahead and do it right now. It's the best time to do it. And if you do so before the NCAA tournament tips off, so on Tuesday of next week, right, for the first four, you can get the Everydayer Club and you can get into our bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win some cool Locked On merch. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So right now, if you use the code MARCH when you sign up for it, you're going to get your first month free as well. So head to the link in the description below, or just type in lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer to get started. Use the code MARCH. You're going to get your first month free, plus our bracket pool as well. So it's going to be a ton of fun. And we are talking college basketball as Indiana is in action tonight. Their first game of the Big Ten tournament in downtown Chicago, where Northwestern is awaiting. The Wildcats take down Penn State last night, 76-66. This was a 2-point game at the half. Okay, I sat and watched the thing, and look, there was no secret on what Northwestern wanted to do. It is the Nick Martinelli show. He led them in points. He led them in rebounds. He led them in minutes. This guy is their workhorse. Are they a good basketball team? No. They're not. But Nick Martinelli is a damn good player. And Indiana saw that firsthand when you gave him 28 points inside of Assembly Hall the one time that these two teams played. And look, this was it's like a crock pot on low, man. Just a slow cook and roast. That's what Northwestern did against Penn State. Penn State's terrible offensively. They're horrible pacing. And Northwestern's actually not a terrible defensive team, as Indiana also saw inside of Assembly Hall. And so they just waited out Penn State, really. They were up by 2 at the half, and they just kind of waited for Penn State to not make shots anymore. They continued to go to Nick Martinelli. Reed had a good game as well for this Northwestern team. The kid down the stretch, Jaden Reed was playing well. Had some dudes in foul trouble in this game, but again, they don't do anything crazy. They rebounded 28 times in this game. 9 of those come on the hands of Nick Martinelli. They did assist on 21 of their 27 made buckets, which is pretty good, actually. I hadn't seen that number yet. That's actually pretty good. Forced some turnovers late against Penn State, and the Nittany Lions just didn't have what it takes to get it done. So we figured this would be the case, and you would like to think that Indiana felt this was going to be the case too, and you've got to find a plan to stop Nick Martinelli. Are you going to shoot as bad as you did the first time when they beat you 72-68? No, probably not. But Indiana stats were not good in this game. Okay, you shot 46% from the floor, 36% from 3, shooting 28 times. from behind the arc. That's horrific. You only get to the free throw line and go 12 of 14 there. You get dominated on the boards, 34-23 the first time you played these guys. You did have 18 assists on 23 made baskets. I do like that number for Indiana. You didn't turn the ball over a ton. You actually evened it out in points in the paint. You just couldn't get rebounds, and a lot of those were offensive by Nick Martinelli, who, again, in the first matchup, Nick Martinelli went for 28 points, only had 5 boards, but all of his work was done with the ball in his hands. Trey Singleton had 8 rebounds in that game. Ayrton Page had 6 rebounds. I mean, it was a group effort on the boards, but Nick Martinelli did all the scoring. For Indiana, Lamar was horrific shooting the basketball, and that was kind of my point in terms of shooting numbers. He was 5 of 17, folks. 5 of 17 was Lamar Wilkerson, who just broke all sorts of scoring records, the most points in Big Ten play in Indiana basketball history. That's what Lamar Wilkerson just did for Indiana. And he shot 5 of 17 in this game. He still ended up with 18 points somehow. I don't really know how. The math doesn't really math up there, but Sam Alexis had 13, Tucker had 11, and Tayton Conaway had 14, but you score less than 70 points on your home floor and you let Northwestern beat you. This was a game that is currently keeping you out of the NCAA tournament. Think about it that way. If you don't understand why this game was so bad, why this was the worst loss of the season, it's currently keeping you out of the tournament. So much so that you have to make up for it in this game tonight and then give yourself a chance against Purdue tomorrow. Does a win tonight against Northwestern, does it wash it out? Does it kind of even it out? I doubt it. I don't think the committee works that way. And again, they don't watch these games, so they don't know. You could poll all of them. How many are there? 16 or 20, something like that? I can't remember. You could poll all of them privately, stick them with some truth serum and say, hey, who does Indiana play in the Big Ten tournament tonight? I would be willing to bet that 3/4 of them do not know. I'd be willing to bet it, that they don't know. And they're not going to watch it. And you can ask them the next day, hey, who won last night, Indiana or Northwestern? They don't know. They have a 50-50 shot, but they don't know. Okay? Indiana winning this game does you absolutely nothing in the eyes of the committee. But again, it gives you the opportunity to play a team that does mean something in the eyes of the committee, and that is Purdue tomorrow. But you have to win this game. And the way you win this game is to slow down Nick Martinelli. You are not going to stop him. He is their go-to guy. He averages damn near double than anybody else on this team, okay? But Indiana got worked the last time you played them. So much so that Indiana's defensive liability is not even a good enough word. That liability is too nice for Indiana. Your defensive holes that you had and just breakdowns and just, oh, it's so bad. You couldn't communicate. You didn't communicate. You refused to communicate defensively on Nick Martinelli. And Northwestern realized all they had to do was run a couple off-ball screens and get the switches that they were looking for. And Nick Martinelli just went one-on-one on everybody on Indiana's team. Not just Sam Alexis, not just Reed Bailey, not just Tucker DeVries. Folks, there were times that, Connor Enright was guarding Nick Martinelli one-on-one on the low block. What are we doing? You cannot allow that to happen tonight. And it's not that hard. They've got one dude. Throw a double, throw a triple team at him. I don't care. Make someone else beat you. This team does not shoot the ball well. They don't push the ball well. They don't even rebound the ball well. Northwestern doesn't. You literally have one job on the defensive end of the floor, and it's to slow him down. If you do that and find a body when a shot goes up, you have a chance to win this game. And offensively, we'll see how Indiana shoots in this building. Northwestern has the upper hand after playing a game in there already, right? Indiana will have a practice and a shoot around and things, but this is your first game in this building for the Big Ten tournament. So you are looking to hopefully get comfortable early and hopefully find a rhythm. Now, this is at the United Center, which Indiana has played in already, and you put up a bunch of points when you played Marquette here. Now, Marquette is terrible. We don't talk about that. But you did put up a lot of points when you played here way back in the beginning of the season. So maybe that benefits Indiana too. I think we win. I do. I think we win this game, and I hope that we come out with a fire for a couple of reasons. One, for revenge, because you got embarrassed in this game last time. Two, because your season is up for grabs and you must win or it is over. And three, I expect there to be a good amount of IU fans here tonight. I don't think Northwestern fans, even in their backyard, I don't expect there to be a ton of fans there. There wasn't last night. I don't expect there to be tonight. I think Indiana, check that. I know Indiana will travel. So give your fans something to cheer for. Give us another day. Give us some more, I don't know, fire, if you will. Give us another day and another date with Purdue tomorrow. And don't send yourself home and knock yourself out of the NCAA tournament. Take care of business. You're the better team. Go out and prove it tonight. I've said that before. We haven't done it before. It's another chance to redeem yourself tonight against Northwestern. So we will be going live after the game tonight here on Locked On Hoosiers. We got another segment, don't worry. But we will be going live tonight here on the YouTube channel. Win or lose, we will go live after Indiana and Northwestern. We'll talk about all the other games going on today in the Big Ten tournament, plus, of course, Indiana and Northwestern. But win or lose, Scott Dolson, the athletic director at Indiana, says he is happy with Darian DeVries. Couldn't be happier is what he said, and commends his coach for what he did this offseason. Interesting comments from the AD. We'll talk about that next. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when the momentum shifts, you can move right along with it. I always knew the game, but never really had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by the people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play-by-play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox is overflowing, and the one position that you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, and location, so you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. All right, in the minute or so that I'm talking to you here, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing the candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners of this show, you're going to get a $75 sponsored job credit right now to help get your job the premium status that it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about it on Locked On Hoosiers, okay? Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. All right, final segment here on today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, being with us for a full basketball show. Haven't done one of these in a while, but when the Big Ten tournament's going on and bracketology is updating by the minute, it seems, and the Hoosiers have their season on the line, figured it was appropriate to talk all things Indiana basketball. We're going to sidestep or I guess step back a little bit, step up and zoom out, if you will, whatever terminology you want to use, and want to discuss the comments from Scott Dolson, who, of course, is the athletic director at Indiana. And he was on the radio the other night for the coach's show and was asked about Darian DeVries and was addressing the grumbling and the disappointment and the I don't know, the irritation, I guess, from the Indiana fan base, which I know a ton of you have relayed to me, right? About this Indiana team, the program as a whole, but then this team in particular. And man, Scott Dolson did not take that lightly. And this sounded like something he's been thinking about for a while. And I like Scott Dolson. I do. I think his answers are always well thought out when he's in front of a microphone. I think he is known for that, right? But he got on the mic and he kind of told you, Indiana fans, to pipe down. Couple of quotes that he had. He said, "I couldn't be more happier to have Darian here and what he's done in a short time period." He says, "One of the things that's important for fans to know is that nobody has higher expectations for the program than myself, for Darian, and we want those expectations. We do." And this is very elementary to say something like this, but it is nice to hear these things that they do take notice. And I promise you what he's saying is true. Nobody wants Indiana basketball to win more than Scott Dolson. Okay, nobody understands that Indiana basketball for the last 20 years has been in and out of relevancy, and he's trying to fix that. But Indiana's been in a couple of tough spots. You've had a couple of coaches flame out. You've had coaches not pan out. You've had a lot of things go against you, and Dolson is trying to fix that. So he addressed that. His other quote that I think is remarkable is he addressed the ever-changing world and landscape of college athletics, particularly with basketball. His quote is this: "The transition in basketball, it was probably the craziest time to ever take over a program with the way that the portal was." He goes on to say, "So I really commend Darian that we were able to put the roster together to at least get us through the season. But I think we're going to hit a stride and really get into some rhythm now that we've got a year under our belt." That quote itself will probably be another talking point on a later episode, especially if the season comes to an early end here in the next, 12, 24 hours, right? As if you're watching and listening to this. I commend Darian that we were able to put the roster together to at least get us through the season. I've thought about this quote for the last day or so, and I'm going to be honest, I don't love how that comes off. Because what he's saying and what he's portraying here is that, oh, poor old Indiana, we did what we could. We put together whatever we found on the streets, right? With the leftovers and the scraps and the duct tape and the Band-Aids. We just put it together and we got through the year, and now we're ready. Now we're going to turn this around and really ramp everything up. What happens if you miss the tournament? You going to ramp things up now? Yeah, you've got some recruiting wins, and that's a big deal. We'll talk about that in the offseason, but I don't know. I didn't love how that comes off. And I know what he's saying. And I agree that it was a very difficult time to be stepping into a new program and trying to build a brand new roster with 0 returning players on it and trying to build that out of the portal. But I'm not going to sit here and say, woe is me, that Indiana, we need a grace period. I'm not buying that. Indiana's too prominent. Indiana's got too much money, too much fame, too much name, too much game to be crying wolf and asking for forgiveness and asking for patience and for time. I'm not buying that. Indiana football and Kurt Cignetti just proved you don't have to have that anymore. You can win right now. You win with the right coach, the right staff, and the right players. You can win right now. I don't care what sport it is. Am I asking for a national championship in year 2 from Darian DeVries? No. But I think making the tournament in year 1 was an expectation that we're on the fence of either making or not making. And so I don't appreciate the comments from Dolson in terms of, well, Please just give us time. He didn't have much to work with. I'm not buying it. So there's more on this, and there's more quotes that I want to dive into, and we will do so as the tournament plays out, the Big Ten tournament, and hopefully some of the NCAA tournament as well. But I wanted to at least get my initial thoughts out there on that because I thought that was interesting for him to say those things. Again, for a guy that is very well spoken and thinks out every answer that he gives, I just wasn't buying all that he was selling the other night on the radio. So Indiana, Northwestern tonight in the Big Ten tournament. We will be going live right after the game, okay? So be sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Locked On Hoosiers. Again, check out the Everydayer Club right now at lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer. We're going to be chatting in there in the Discord server, so be sure to get in on that. It's $5 a month, but if you use the code MARCH, you're going to get your first month free. You can get access to that, the ad-free version of the show, and a whole lot more, okay? So we will talk to you tonight after Indiana and Northwestern, and then a full show tomorrow, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.